This hour, a shakeup is potentially underway at the Utah Debate Commission, one with the potential to affect the future of any debates in the state. We have two reports beginning with KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce live. Becky?
These new developments all track back to a letter sent to all members of the Utah Debate Commission by Richard Davis, who helped found the group. He wrote to announce his resignation, but took time in that letter to criticize what he says is an attack on the Debate Commission by the Republican-led legislature. KSL has obtained a copy of the letter. Davis called the ability of Republican leaders to determine where debates happen, who moderates them, and how people participate a, quote, travesty for Utah voters. With more reaction, here's KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
We have such a deep appreciation for the vision and dedication of all of those who were involved in the founding.
Co-chair of the Utah Debate Commission, Becky Edwards, tells me she didn't speak with Richard Davis before he announced he was leaving the commission, but she says it wasn't a surprise to her either since he's been living in Florida for the past several years. Davis's departure comes just months after the Utah legislature decided not to give the commission any more funding when they had been giving them $65,000 annually for years. They instead decided to give nearly 10 times that to the University of Utah and UVU to collaborate on running their own debates. Edwards tells me, though, the legislature was never their primary source of funding, so they are not worried about their future.
It's going to be incumbent upon us to raise those dollars independently from members of the community. And I have no doubt that we'll be able to do so because we've already been doing that for the past 10 years. And we just need to redouble our efforts a little bit.
And when it comes to others wanting to run their own debates, Edwards says she thinks the more debates, the better. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Municipal primaries are less than a week away, but new rules about when your ballot must be in the hands of the county clerk mean you don't have as much time as you think if you're planning to mail your ballot. Inside Sources host Holly Richardson explains.
The county clerks all have to have the ballots in hand by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, which means if you are mailing your ballot and you think there's any chance that it might get delayed, it will not count. If it shows up on Wednesday, it's not going to count, no matter what the postmark is. That is a big change from previously where it had to be postmarked the day before the election. Now it has to be in hand.
Holly recommends anyone trying to mail in a ballot to do so today and says if you can't do that, you should consider dropping it in a designated ballot drop box instead or voting in person. KSL's top national stories. The standoff continues between Texas Democrats and Republicans over the quorum needed in that state's legislature so Republicans can approve redistricting maps. Democrats are asking for donations to help. They're worried their days-long walkout could turn into weeks, if not months, and most of them are staying in hotels. Lawmakers could also face fines for continuing to stay away from the Texas State House in Austin. The governor has threatened to call a second special session after this one ends. Apple has now committed to another $100 billion to build up domestic manufacturing and sources for components for its devices. But President Trump still has one big thing on his wish list from Apple.
The company is stopping short of giving the president what he really wants, iPhones fully made in the U.S. Experts say it's not realistic to make an iPhone in America because of lack of infrastructure, workforce, and supply chain.
ABC's Rachel Scott reporting Utah is set to heavily benefit from Apple's investment in U.S. manufacturing. Apple says part of their investment is making a new commitment with Texas Instruments, which will allow them to install new equipment at their silicon chip-making facility in Lehigh. Utah even played a part in the big announcement at the Oval Office yesterday when Apple CEO Tim Cook presented a gift to President Trump.
And the base comes from Utah. And is 24 karat gold.
On social media, Utah Governor Spencer Cox says this investment will, quote, support high-paying jobs, national security, and long-term economic strength in Utah. The number of Americans filing for unemployment rose last week. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
The latest look at weekly claims for unemployment benefits finds 226,000 filings in the week leading up to August 2nd. That's an increase of 7,000 from the week before. In all, 1.9 million Americans are receiving benefits, 38,000 more than the last week of July.
Today's report is the first following President Trump's decision to fire the head of the agency that tallies the monthly job numbers. Box Elder County is investigating a cybersecurity breach. There could be some temporary disruptions with county services in the meantime. The county is asking residents to contact them by phone before taking action. The county says they're taking the security risks seriously, especially when it comes to elections, and says no election equipment was involved in this incident. First look traffic, here's Ricky Meese.
And it is emergency traffic. This is in Utah County, southbound I-15 with a crash in Spanish Fork, causing about 2 to 2.5 miles of solid delays. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
One of the founding members of the Utah Debate Commission is calling it quits and calling out what he says is undue influence from lawmakers. KSL News Time, 12:06. The lawsuit over Utah's transgender athlete ban is in court, and a judge has until the end of the month to decide if it will move forward. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The lawsuit claims the Utah High School Activities Association enforced a ban preventing high school athletes from competing on sports teams that didn't match their biological sex when it should have been paused. That pause or injunction was issued by a local judge after several athletes sued. But the ban came after the state passed a very similar law in 2022 and after President Trump issued an executive order with the same instructions. The association says they did not violate the injunction because they were complying with the president's order. And now it's even more complicated because earlier this year, the Supreme Court ruled a local judge cannot issue nationwide injunctions. The judge has until the end of the month to decide. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Tens of thousands of U.S. college students without legal resident status are losing access to in-state tuition prices as part of President Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration. The Justice Department has been suing states to end tuition breaks for students without legal residency, starting with Texas in June. It's also filed lawsuits in Kentucky, Minnesota, and most recently Oklahoma. Last year, Florida ended its tuition break for students living there illegally. 2 more school districts have voted and are asking for a vote to increase property taxes. Officials with Canyon School District says they need to increase taxes to account for inflation. This new increase amounts to around $70 per year. Many residents, including Susan Lavin, came out to the district who had not been wise with their money they do have.
The district spends way too much money on frivolous items, like $10,000 massage chairs for the schools.
Logan School District will meet today to vote on a property tax increase, although much smaller, amounting to just about $8 a year. KSL News Time, 12:08. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Emergency traffic in Utah County due to a crash blocking all lanes of travel southbound I-15 at 8000 South in Spanish Fork. If you're going through Utah County, the delays will start after the Highway 6 junction in Spanish Fork, but they're pretty solid. Even if they're letting a lane get by, which it's really hard to tell, it's going to be one of the right lanes or right shoulders. But right now, slow and go and stop and go delays from Highway 6 down to 8000 South. Now, if you're traveling any of the Salt Lake County freeways, you're good to go with no problems. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy, August 9th and 10th. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cooler weather and less wind coming our way. Today it's hot, 99 degrees, mostly sunny skies, but man, it'll be windy. Gusty out of the south to 30, maybe even 35 at times. Overnight, 67, partly cloudy skies. We'll go mix of sun and clouds on Friday, but 10 degrees cooler at 88 with a subtle northwest breeze. 87 on Saturday, partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now it's 91 and mostly sunny in Salt Lake City. Coming up on midday, it's not necessarily cooler than normal, but we are on track to see fewer 100-degree days this summer. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. Sponsored by At Your Service Pros, we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm, totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
The murder of 2 men forces their families to wrestle with impossible questions. Who is forgiveness for? Does everyone deserve a second chance? Follow Season 2 of The Letter, Ripple Effect, at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
KSL News Time, 12:13. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
one of the founding members of the Utah Debate Commission is stepping away just months after the Utah legislature decided not to renew tens of thousands of dollars of their annual funding. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, if you're planning to mail in your municipal primary ballot, better do that today. New rules mean the county clerk needs your ballot in hand by 8 on election night. Third, traffic and weather together.
It is emergency traffic due to a multiple vehicle crash. Possible injuries southbound I-15 in Spanish Fork near 8000 South. A lot of traffic backing up into the Spanish Fork area prior to, not quite back to Highway 6, but it is a long stretch of delay. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Gusty winds today with high fire danger. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's 91 degrees at the Common Spirit Health Studios. Now, time for our top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meeting today with his security cabinet. He's expected to seek approval of his plan to take over all of Gaza City ABC's Ian Panel in Tel Aviv says,
We know that the military has concerns about this plan, not least because it's believed that the hostages are inside those areas that Israel doesn't currently control, and there are huge concerns, especially from the families of hostages, about what that will mean. Will it endanger the lives of their loved ones? Hugely controversial here in Israel.
And there's been no reaction from the White House, but the White House does say President Trump has not agreed to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, despite a Kremlin claim the two could meet in a matter of days. The president is clear that he wants a new census and one that excludes people who are in the country illegally. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has more from Washington.
The president's new demand that immigrants here illegally should be excluded from the census would seem to run afoul of the Constitution. The 14th Amendment says the count every 10 years is to be of the whole number of persons in each state. The only exception back in 1868 when it was ratified was for those living on Indian reservations who at the time weren't taxed. Generally, states urge full participation in the census because it shapes each state's House delegation and electoral votes, as well as billions in federal grants.
And Texas Republicans are pursuing redistricting. Democratic lawmakers have left the state, and Senator John Cornyn says the FBI's agreed to help track down those Democrats. ABC's Luke Barr has more.
We've repeatedly asked the FBI what this means. We've asked for details about what this assistance looks like, and the FBI has declined to comment repeatedly. So it's unclear what they can do.
The man accused of a plot targeting Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota that left the former Speaker of the House and her husband dead has pleaded not guilty. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Hot, dry, and windy conditions remain the norm this week across Utah. But as hot as it's been, we're actually a little below average for how many triple-digit days we've seen this year. KSL meteorologist Kevin Eubank explains.
The summer of 2025 has been a hot one for Salt Lake City, but not as hot as in years past, especially when it comes to 100-degree days. Now, Salt Lake City averages 8 days of 100-degree temperatures, 1 day in June, 5 days in July, and 2 days in August. Now, just a year ago, we had 20 days of 100-degree temperatures during those 3 months. But this year has been a little bit closer to normal and slightly below. We ended up with 1 day of 100s in the month of June. We had 3 days of 100s in July, and we've had 1 day of 100-degree temperatures here in August. So we've had a total of 5 days, so just a smidge below normal. But the bottom line is, for Salt Lake City, this is actually the least amount of 100-degree days in 7 years for the summer season. So we're below normal, and it looks like we likely could end the summer months below normal for 100-degree days. Now, it isn't a full indicator of how hot the summer's been. 100s is just one thing that we look at. But if you're wondering, hey, this year feels a little light on the 100s, well, you're absolutely right. It is slightly below normal.
We're going to flirt with 100 today with a forecast high of 99, but it'll be cooler headed into the weekend. KSL News Time, 12:18. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain of America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Emergency traffic continues in Utah County, where we have a multiple vehicle crash, about 4 involved in this accident southbound I-15 near 8000 South Spanish Fork. It's been blocking left lanes of travel. They're trying to get drivers by on the right. It is a slow process, though, and we have delays back to about the Highway 6 junction. So you've got 3.5 miles of solid slowdowns. If you know an alternate route, you may want to take it. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting in this backup, and it's pretty much a parking lot through that area for the next 30 minutes, probably, give or take a bit at least. And if you're traveling any of the Salt Lake County freeways, you're actually seeing a nice and quiet drive. Crews are wrapping up an accident over to the west side, 6 north at 3700 west. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I got a hot, dry, and windy day today, then a cool down. 99 this afternoon, mostly sunny skies, windy. Breezy tomorrow, cooler, 88 degrees, mix of sun and clouds. Sunday, partly cloudy, 88. We love to see it. 90 degrees, partly cloudy skies on Sunday. Monday, we're warming back up to 93, mostly sunny skies. 96 Tuesday, Wednesday, sunshine, 97. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 91 and sunny in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Save thousands on hot tubs and swim spas. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Major manufacturers liquidation of new 2025 spas, discounted up to 40 to 80%. We have spas to fit any backyard or budget. Free professional delivery, instant on-site financing. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Transform your backyard with a swim spa for the fraction of the price of a pool. The easiest way to exercise or relax in your backyard. Just fill and chill. Shockingly low monthly payments. Don't miss this opportunity to build the backyard of your dreams. See the latest models in person. 3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Learn more online at hottubandSwimSpaSale.com. hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son, and they're demanding $500,000.
On September 12th, 1995, 12-year-old McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas. It was a crime that shocked the community because the suspect was so unlikely, so unexpected.
Former high-ranking police official. He'd run for sheriff at one point.
Law enforcement personnel were pretty much split down the middle over whether or not he actually did this.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, still feels that justice was never truly served.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Scientists are sounding the alarms over AI and its effects on humanity. ABC's Jim Ryan reports.
Posing as 13-year-olds, researchers at the Center for Countering Digital Hate signed up for ChatGPT accounts and began asking about weight control, drinking, drug use, even suicide. According to CCDH, the chatbot initially offered information on crisis centers, but when the fake kid said the advice was for a friend, the answers became more harmful. Even the researchers called it alarming.
A new version of the chatbot was released today. It's set to reach 700 million weekly active users. Watching Utah's money, summer vacations were and still are in full swing. Airbnb reported better than expected results for second quarter. CNBC reports there were 134.3 million nights booked. That's up from 7% a year ago. Revenue increased 13%. Intel has caught some unwanted attention from the president. In a Truth Social post, Trump said that Intel's CEO is highly conflicted and needs to resign immediately. Intel has not responded. General Motors is planning to pay steep tariffs to get EV batteries from China. The Wall Street Journal reports GM agreed to the 2-year deal as they develop their own manufacturing plant with LG Energy Solutions in the U.S. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 368 points, the S&P down 33, and the NASDAQ is down 75. Some new worries about wasps. ABC's Andrea Fujii has the story.
In South Carolina, an alarming discovery. At least 5 wasp nests have been found to be radioactive. Experts say they tested positive for traces of nuclear waste that the wasps might have accessed from soil around a nearby facility. And they say the chances of it harming people is low.
The wasp nests were found near the Savannah River nuclear site. KSL News Time, 12:25.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Can you believe it?
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary.
23 days until opening kickoff. This is your home for BYU football. Plus, breaking news and weather every morning. Listen for Andy and Amanda each morning when you get in the car. And Jeff Kaplan on the drive home on KSL News Radio.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
This is in Utah County, southbound I-15, a 4-car crash in Spanish Fork at about 8,000 South, blocking left lanes of travel. Right now, I'm looking at Spanish Fork at about mile marker 256 3rd North, and no traffic is moving. So they are holding all traffic until they can open up a lane to get you moving again. We have a lot of emergency crews on the scene here, and right now we do have traffic backed all the way to the Highway 6 junction. So 3 to 4 miles of solid delays. If you can delay your travel time or find an alternate route, you want to do so, because these delays are going to take a long time to clear. Now, we have also had a stalled vehicle in traffic on the exit ramp from southbound I-15 at 45th South in Murray. They're working to get that moved out of the way. Connect your family with nature this summer. Container gardening with plants from Olson's Greenhouse will get them off their screens and out in the yard. For tips and ideas, visit ogg.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, I've got mostly sunny skies today. A hot high of 99. It'll be windy out of the south. Gusts up to 30 possible. 67 overnight. We'll go 88 tomorrow. Partly cloudy, a little bit breezy. Then it's 87, partly cloudy Saturday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time 12:30. KSL's top story this hour is breaking news. Crews are responding to a new fire in a remote section of Summit County east of the Mirror Lake Highway. The Utah Department of Public Safety is sending a helicopter to make sure no campers are in harm's way. We'll bring you the more details as soon as they become available. A local police department wants to know its officers that don't work for ICE. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more on the new message from Provo PD.
The police department says they know there's a lot of concerned people out there right now because of ICE activity. That's why they used all caps several times in their Facebook post to emphasize that they do not ask victims of crime about their citizenship. They do not get notifications from ICE, and they are not taking part in immigration roundups. They even sent out a myth versus fact graphic. The post goes on to say they want to assure people in Provo they are there to serve all members of the community. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. IndyCar is pushing back against a new ad from the Department of Homeland Security. It uses an AI-generated image of a race car with an ICE logo on it, promoting what Homeland Security officials call the Speedway Slammer. That's a detention center for possible deportees. ABC's Andrea Fujii has more.
The car in the image bears the number 5, the same number as IndyCar driver Pato O'Ward, the only Mexican driver in the IndyCar series. O'Ward responding to the image, saying, "I was just a little bit shocked at the coincidences."
ABC's Andrea Fujii reporting new visa fees could curb the United States tourism ahead of some major events. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Those events include the 2026 World Cup set to be hosted in Dallas-Fort Worth, the 2028 Summer Olympics set to be hosted in Los Angeles, and America's 250th birthday next year. The new fees were included in the president's spending bill and apply to most non-immigrant visa applications. They're even expected to increase for inflation. The U.S. Travel Association says travel to the country has already been on the decline over economic uncertainty and political tensions. That's a big monetary loss for the country. Every 1% drop in international visitor spending is $1.8 billion lost in export revenue. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Utah's economy relies heavily on overseas tourism. Salt Lake City is currently tracking lower than average for our number of triple-digit days in the summer. The average is 8, and we're still sitting at 5 so far.
It isn't a full indicator of how hot the summer's been. 100 is just one thing that we look at.
But KSL meteorologist Kevin Eubank says it's the lowest number of triple-digit days we've seen in 7 years. 2 months into the 2025 hurricane season, and meteorologists are standing behind their predictions of an active season.
The National Weather Service still expects to see 13 to 18 named storms before the end of the hurricane season, November 30th, including as many as 9 hurricanes and 2 to 5 major hurricanes. The agency acknowledges that the season has gotten off to a slow start, with Tropical Storm Andrea taking shape June 24th, and Tropical Storm Dexter is now in the North Atlantic and moving away from the U.S. mainland. A new disturbance is taking shape off the coast of Africa, with a 60% chance of becoming a cyclone in the next 7 days. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
The number of reported tick sightings is on the rise across the country, and there's also been an increase in reported Lyme disease cases. KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez has more.
A new report from the CDC shows the number of ticks and tick-related diseases like Lyme disease have increased across the country. Epidemiologist Casey Nowak with the Utah Department of Health says it's not much of an issue in Utah. Nowak says there is no concrete evidence that there are ticks that carry Lyme disease, and a very small number of ticks in the state do carry any disease. She says while it is unlikely to contract a disease from a tick, it's important to always take precautions like wearing EPA-approved bug spray and doing a tick check on yourself and pets when recreating outside, especially out of state.
According to the report, climate change and more people spending time outside are factors impacting the increase in tick reports. A woman from the Tacoma area in Washington state is being treated for malaria, which health officials believe she got in the Pacific Northwest. They say she had not traveled out of the country, but believe she was infected by a mosquito who transmitted the disease from someone who did. A new AI tool can help doctors treat age-related macular degeneration thanks to the work of a University of Utah researcher. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
The disease is the leading cause of blindness for people over age 55, and those who have it need personalized treatment plans. So they used Dr. Adam Dubas and his colleagues created Deep Eye. The AI tool will analyze scans and medical records and work like a second consult to a physician, helping determine if the current plan should be changed and how many treatments the patient will need for the next year.
Dubas has applied for permission to have the tool tested at the Moran Eye Center this year. First look at emergency traffic. Here's Ricky Meese.
Solid delays. This goes for about 4, maybe not quite 5 miles southbound I-15. And the backups will start at the Highway 6 junction down to where we have a crash blocking a left lane at 8000 South Spanish Fork. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Not every victory has fireworks. Sometimes it's a quiet win, like tying your shoes without gasping, walking upstairs without pausing, or being able to sit cross-legged on the floor and play with your kids. That's what soda gave me. I lost 82 pounds in just 16 weeks. And with it went the weight, the aches, the excuses. But what I gained, confidence, energy, time, and a version of myself I thought was long gone. Soda didn't overwhelm me with rules or leave me starving. I ate real food. I learned what my body needed. And the personal nutritionist, game changer. They were there with answers, encouragement, and real solutions. If you're looking for your own quiet win, this is your moment. If it worked for me, it will work for you. Go to sodaweightloss.com, click the request a nutritionist callback. It's time, you can do it. sodaweightloss.com. SOTA, sodaweightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with the Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Provo police are trying to reassure the public with a new social media message. They don't do immigration enforcement. KSL News Time, 12:37. There are 11 major cities across the U.S. where home prices are falling, but not a single one of them is in the Utah. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more.
Utah home prices rose an average of 1.5% from a year ago. At the same time, some big cities like Oakland, California, Atlanta, Georgia, and West Palm Beach, Florida, tracked by the real estate website Redfin, saw prices drop, making them more affordable for buyers. In fact, 4 of the 11 cities with falling prices were in Florida, although the price drops were offset by soaring insurance and HOA costs because of recent natural disasters. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
It's Sophomore Blitz Day at American Fork High School. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff has more.
Early this morning, 70 teachers gathered at the high school, had a quick bite to eat, and then grabbed some boxes of swag bags before heading out in pairs to try and meet all 800 incoming sophomores.
We are going to welcome every sophomore that's coming to American Fork High School so that they feel a little bit more comfortable on the very first day. So they're going to meet a couple of teachers. We're going to give them a high five, give them a little goodie bag, and hopefully they'll feel a little more comfortable when they show up. They'll be like, those are those weirdos who came to my house and gave me a treat.
Sam Beeson has been teaching English for 28 years. He says the first impression these incoming students get can make all the difference. In American Fork, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
A brand new middle school will be opening its doors for the first time next week in Eagle Mountain. KSL TV's Brian Carlson is taking a look at Sage Canyon Middle School this morning.
So we're inside the Sage Canyon Middle School's new auditorium that seats 700 students. It's definitely bigger and better than anything I had here in middle school. And it's not just a new school. It's a new direction in education in this growing part of the state. Sage Canyon Middle School is only the second junior high age school in all of Eagle Mountain.
1,500 kids will start roaming the halls next Wednesday, and Utah's Morning News will be there live at the school as those kids kick off their first day of the school year. KSL News Time, 12:39. Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
A little bit of good news for drivers trying to get through Utah County southbound I-15. The crash has been moved out of the way at 8,000 South Spanish Fork. And I believe all lanes of traffic are now open, even that left lane that had been blocked this entire time. And from time to time, I do see the backup starting to move a little bit better. However, it is still a very long, slow drive because the delays now stretch to the Highway 6 junction. So it's even though they're making progress on getting this crash cleared, it will still take a while for these delays to clear out. Again, the brake lights are waiting for you southbound I-15 approaching the Highway 6 junction down to 8,000 South in Spanish Fork. If you're traveling I-15 either direction between Bountiful and Bluffdale, though, you are good to go. The rest of your Salt Lake County freeways are seeing a quiet drive as well. Why settle for a basic night out when all tickets for Utah Symphony and Utah Opera performances are now on sale? Don't wait. Prices go up after August 31st. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I've got mostly sunny skies today and a high of 99. Red flag warning statewide with wind out of the south gusting to 30. 88 tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with a northwest breeze keeping things cool. 87 degrees, partly cloudy skies on Saturday. Sunday, partly cloudy 90. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 93 and sunny in Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, a shakeup is underway at the Utah Debate Commission as one of the founding members leaves behind some harsh words for the legislature. That's coming up streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You've lived with the pain long enough. The missed meals, covered smiles, the moments you've avoided because of your teeth. If you're living with missing or broken teeth or struggling with dentures, take your life back. Stubbs Dental Implant Center has helped thousands reclaim their health, confidence, and joy with permanent dental implants. What do Stubbs Dental patients say?
I'm no longer in pain, and I can finally be myself again after getting dental implants. I just wish I would have gone to Stubbs Dental sooner.
I was at a denture for 10 years before I got dental implants. My life has completely changed thanks to Stubbs Dental.
You know, I hated looking at myself in the mirror. Getting dental implants from Stubbs Dental has been life-changing.
As a 3-time Best of State winner with over 2,500 5-star Google reviews, Stubbs Dental doesn't just fix teeth, they change lives. Visit StubbsDental.com today to reserve your free consultation. A $350 value, completely free. StubbsDental.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
KSL News Time, 1244. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
new visa integrity fees implemented by President Donald Trump could drive visitors away from Utah and other parts of the country ahead of some major events. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, a new fire is burning in Summit County east of Mirror Lake Highway. It's pretty remote, but the Forest Service and state police are working to evacuate campers. Third, traffic and weather together.
A new accident. This is after the huge delays that we have going through Spanish Fork on southbound I-15. This crash is near Main Street in Payson. It has been moved out of traffic over to the right. But again, lingering delays southbound I-15 from Highway 6 down to 8000 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Cold front approaching Utah will kick up the wind today, then cooler weather to follow. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's 93 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Now, KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The White House says Washington, D.C. residents should expect to see an increase in federal law enforcement as soon as tomorrow. President Trump suggested that he might take control of the Capitol's police, citing violent crime, even though the police department data shows crime down by more than 25%. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirms in a Fox News interview Israel plans to take full control of Gaza.
Well, we don't want to keep it. We want to have a security perimeter. We don't want to govern it. We don't want to be there as a governing body. We want to hand it over to Arab forces that will govern it properly.
That's led to protests in Israel, especially among hostage families. The western U.S. seeing its hottest temperatures of the year today, dry conditions triggering fire warnings from Nevada to North Dakota. And the man accused of targeting Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota, killing the former state House Speaker and her husband, pleaded not guilty today. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. One of the founding members of the Utah Debate Commission is stepping away and also speaking out about what he describes as undue influence from the state's Republican-led legislature. KSL News Radio's Adam Small spoke with Richard Davis about his concerns.
The Debate Commission has been receiving money from the legislature to run debates independently. There were no strings attached. But this last legislative session, they gave no money to the Debate Commission. They gave $300,000 to UVU and $300,000 to the Hinckley Institute, which is far more than what the Debate Commission was getting to run debates in the state. And there was originally a bill that was not passed, but was being proposed and from what I could tell, supported by legislative leaders to create a Utah Debate Committee. And this committee would consist of either legislators or representative of legislators who would control the debates. And so, in essence, this would, because they had the funding, this would crowd out the Utah Debate Commission. The state universities, these two universities, would be running this, but they would be doing so under this committee that was proposed in this bill. And it's still unclear, really, what the relationship is going to be in the future. But the very fact that the legislature is inserting itself into this process, and the reason they were doing so, I mean, we were hearing these comments that the Utah Debate Commission was too liberal, that it included Democrats. And the whole idea of the Debate Commission was that it would be bipartisan, that it would not be one party, and it would be independent. And so what we're seeing here is basically the legislature injecting itself and deciding who's going to run debates and how they're going to be run in the state, rather than an independent commission doing so.
Adam also spoke with the Debate Commission's co-chair, who says the legislature was never the commission's primary source of funding, adding the more debates, the better. KSL News Time, 12:49. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Traffic is starting to move again, but we still have residual backup southbound to I-15. The crash happened near 8000 South Spanish Fork. It looks like all lanes are open at this time while they do the final cleanup of that crash, but we still have traffic trying to get through the area with backups going to the Highway 6 junction. Speeds are starting to improve. The thickness of the traffic volume is starting to ease a bit. Again, it's still going to take a little bit longer for these delays to completely clear. Now, the crash that happened after the backup, southbound I-15 near Payson Main Street, that has cleared, really didn't cause much of an issue. Salt Lake County freeways, we do have a little bit of busy traffic northbound I-15 approaching 1300 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast has a dip in the roller coaster, and we are happy about it. 99 today, mostly sunny skies, windy out of the south, red flag warning across the entire state. 88 tomorrow, that's 10 degrees cooler, partly cloudy skies, and a northwest breeze. Partly cloudy skies on your Saturday, 87. 90, partly cloudy on Sunday. Wonderful weekend. Warming things back up next week. I got Monday at 93, mostly sunny. Mix of sun and clouds on your Tuesday, 96. We're back up to 97 by Wednesday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's 93 and mostly sunny in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Do you have something special coming up this summer, something that you want to look your best for? Maybe you have a wonderful wedding or possibly a cruise. If you would like to lose some weight, I want to tell you about a great program. It is Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I have lost more than 40 pounds with this great program, 25 pounds of that in the first 60 days. This program keeps you motivated because you burn off that stored fat quickly, and that just keeps you on track because you can see a difference that it's making. This is an all-natural program. There are no injections, no surgery, no medication, so there are no side effects. Plus, it's not as expensive as other programs because there aren't all those things, those prepackaged meals or other products, the bars that you're required to buy. Plus, their app is great. It gives you daily inspiration and great ideas. Find out how you can save $200 now at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Save thousands on hot tubs and swim spas. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Major manufacturers liquidation of new 2025 spas, discounted up to 40 to 80%. We have spas to fit any backyard or budget. Free professional delivery, instant on-site financing. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Transform your backyard with a swim spa for the fraction of the price of a pool. The easiest way to exercise or relax in your backyard. Just fill and chill. Shockingly low monthly payments. Don't miss this opportunity to build the backyard of your dreams. See the latest models in person. 3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Learn more online at hottubandSwimSpaSale.com. hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Extreme heat is baking much of the West today. ABC's Alex Stone says the heat has workers at a major U.S. airport hitting the picket lines.
At Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, airline catering workers are on the picket lines claiming their company is violating Phoenix law with a lack of air conditioning in catering trucks as the city hovers during the day at around 116 degrees. This man works on one of those trucks.
All this time, the truck, they don't have the AC.
It's hot across the West. The valleys around L.A. are over 100 degrees. Denver is forecasted to reach around 100. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Watching Utah's money, Toyota is expecting to lose nearly $10 billion due to President Trump's tariffs on car imports. CNN reports it's the highest estimated loss by any company because of tariffs. The Japanese car maker also cut its forecast for the year by 16%. Uber is starting to work toward a robo-taxi fleet. USA Today says the company is in talks with private equity firms and banks to get the money to work on driverless cars. For now, it's going to use some of its $7 billion income. And people love their DoorDash. The company is now worth $100 billion. CNBC reports orders increased 20% from a year earlier and revenue increased 25%. Shares went up 8% after the news. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 307 points, the S&P down 20, and the NASDAQ is down 6. President Trump's new tariffs have gone into effect with more potentially on the way.
The president also says more tariffs could be on the way, including across-the-board tariffs on semiconductors and chips, a move that could drive up prices even more for electronics appliances and cars.
ABC's Rachel Scott there. The current tariff begin at 10% with some as high as 40%.
If you need new windows and you live in Utah, there's only one choice. There are other window companies, but they're more expensive and their windows aren't made in Utah for Utah's ever-changing climate. Advanced Window Products has been building state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. And since they're the factory, they cut out the middleman and you save 30, even 40% on new windows. Plus, right now as they book for fall, Advanced Windows will give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. They build the windows, install the windows, and guarantee them for life. And since they're right here in Utah, if you have a problem years from now, just call them. They'll come over. Advanced Windows offers 0% financing, buy now, pay later. They're affordable. Get your new windows and get the energy savings before we get to winter. $2,500 off. Call them, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Americans may not agree on much, but we agree on Social Security. We all pay in. It ought to be there when we need it. Social Security could face a funding gap in less than a decade, and I don't want to see a pay cut. I'm with AARP in the fight to protect the Social Security we earned.
Pledge to protect Social Security at aarp.org/weearnedit. That's aarp.org/weearnedit. Paid for by AARP.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time, 12:59. Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good news and bad news. The good news is traffic's starting to move, and the earlier delays are really breaking up and clearing out southbound I-15 through the entire stretch of Spanish Fork. The bad news is we have a new problem. I can't see what's causing it, but traffic has come to a standstill southbound I-15 approaching 33rd South. It's starting to back traffic to about 2100 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The future of the Utah Debate Commission facing a cloudy future over accusations of bias. The complaints penned by a founding member of the commission who just resigned.
We're doing this in an objective way. That's critical. If you start getting away from that, then debates become tainted.
The time is 1 o'clock on Thursday, August 7th. It's midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Coming up, frustrations from the commission dealing with the legislature's increased involvement in debates and why the current chair of the commission says they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Also this hour,
the district spends way too much money on frivolous items.
2 more school districts planning to raise property taxes. They say it's because of rising inflation, but some residents not buying it. But first, our top stories. We have breaking news. Crews are responding to a new fire in a remote section of Summit County east of the Mirror Lake Highway. It's between Mount Bilua and Deadman Mountain in the high Uintas. Fire officials have asked the Department of Public Safety to send in their helicopter to evacuate campers. Dry weather not helping as crews continue to battle the Monroe Canyon fire. Now covering close to 65,000 acres, the Monroe Canyon fire is the #1 fire in the county.
It is wicked dry. There is nothing out there that's helping our firefighters right now.
At a community meeting last night, leaders say firefighters are battling through tough weather conditions and praise their efforts. The fire is currently 16% contained. Our top national story from ABC News. Parts of the Midwest remain under air quality alerts as hundreds of wildfires burning in Canada send smoke across the border. More from ABC's Alex Perez.
The scope of the fire's massive, and the effects are being felt in some of the biggest cities in the U.S., which have had some of the worst air quality in the world. Experts say depending on the amount of time exposed, air quality with an index of 150 is equivalent to smoking up to 7 cigarettes a day.
The smoke has drifted all the way to Boston. Our air quality forecast here is in the moderate range. Fire officials are saying most of Utah is now under a critical fire weather alert. They're dealing with gusty winds and extremely low humidity. United Airlines is still recovering after a computer outage last night grounded flights around the world. It's back up now, but travelers are still feeling the impact.
United is today the world's leading airline for canceled and delayed flights. It says it's working to get back on track today, but over 150 United flights have been canceled and nearly 300 delayed on top of cancellations and delays when the computer system went down on Wednesday night. Denver, Chicago, and Houston are the most heavily impacted airports today, all big United hub airports. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 290 points, the S&P down 21, and the NASDAQ is down 15. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking accounts. Here's Ricky Meese.
Some traffic is starting to move again. Southbound I-15 near 33rd South, it's still bunched up and slow, but it still is backed up to about 2100 South, where traffic is remaining very reduced and slow in the area. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Temperatures expected to get near the triple digits today. We're looking at a high of 99 tomorrow before we dip back into the 80s. High of 88 Friday and on 87 on Saturday, 87 in the forecast. Right now it's 93 and sunny. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I used to get overwhelmed at the grocery store. One minute I'm reading a label that says healthy. Next thing I know, it's packed with sugar and stuff I can't pronounce. That's when soda stepped in. When I started the program, I didn't just get a food plan, I got a lifeline. I lost 82 pounds in 16 weeks. But more than that, I learned how to eat smart, shop smart, stay on track even when life gets messy. I could text my soda nutritionist from aisle 5 and get instant help. That's support you don't get from a label. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being prepared. And with soda, I finally felt in control of my health and my habit. Go to sodaweightloss.com. sodaweightloss.com. SOTA. It stands for State of the Art. Click the Request Nutritionist callback. Get to it. You can do it. You know how I know you can do it? Because I did it. sodaweightloss.com. sodaweightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
The future of political debates in Utah unclear today after a founding member of the Utah Debate Commission resigned, saying the independent commission is under attack. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Richard Davis tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small Utah Republican leaders do not want state debates to be bipartisan, and he knows that because of where their money is going.
The Debate Commission has been receiving money from the legislature to run debates independently. There were no strings attached. But this last legislative session, they gave no money to the Debate Commission. They gave $300,000 to UVU and $300,000 to the Hinckley Institute, which is far more than what the Debate Commission was getting to run debates in the state. And there was originally a bill that was not passed, but was being proposed, and from what I could tell, supported by legislative leaders to create a Utah Debate Committee. And this committee would consist of either legislators or representative of legislators who would control the debates. And so, in essence, this would, because they had the funding, this would crowd out the Utah Debate Commission. The state universities, these two universities, would be running this, but they would be doing so under this committee that was proposed in this bill. And it's still unclear, really, what the relationship is going to be in the future. But the very fact that the legislature is inserting itself into this process, and the reason they were doing so, I mean, we were hearing these comments that the Utah Debate Commission was too liberal, that it included Democrats. And the whole idea of the Debate Commission was that it would be bipartisan, that it would not be one party, and it would be independent. And so what we're seeing here is basically the legislature injecting itself and deciding who's going to run debates and how they're going to be run in the state, rather than an independent commission doing so.
Davis says that because this new committee is run by state universities, these schools will want to appease the legislature to keep their funding. He says this presents a clear conflict of interest.
For example, there have been times in the past when candidates have wanted to know what the questions were going to be, or to have some veto power over the moderators. And once you start going down that road, then you're no longer independent. You're basically allowing the politicians to decide what the debate is going to be like. And clearly they want it in a certain way, but that's not necessarily the best for the voters.
The current co-chair of the Utah Debate Commission, Becky Edwards, says the Utah Debate Commission will be able to continue without state funding. Davis disagrees.
In recent years, the UDC has increasingly relied on the legislature for funding, and private fundraising has dried up. So that is a big problem. But I'm hoping she can do that. But again, that's going to create a quandary for the universities, because they're going to say, well, should we go with the UDC, or should we go with the creation of the legislature who funds us? So that's why, again, it's going to depend on people. I mean, we did this back in 2012, 2013. We created this independent debate commission. I mean, I reached out to universities. I reached out to media organizations. We had a meeting in August of 2013 where we formed this entity among these two organizations, the media outlets, as well as the academic institutions in the state. And so what's going to happen in the future is that media alone will have to come together.
Current co-chair of the Utah Debate Commission, Becky Edwards, says despite the issues raised by founding member Richard Davis, the UDC will move forward.
We have such a deep appreciation for the vision and dedication of all of those who were involved in the founding of the Debate Commission. And we really are in existence and have built this incredible resource for the people of Utah that increases civic engagement and voter participation in a way that I think really represents the dedication of the people of Utah to a vigorous civil political debate in the public forum.
Another challenge for the commission is funding. You'll recall that in the last legislative session, lawmakers pulled the funding they had given the commission in years past, opting to give more money towards the creation of a new kind of debate commission. Edwards tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that the UDC still has funding from other sources.
Going forward with the funding from the legislature diminishing, it's going to be incumbent upon us to raise those dollars independently from members of the community. And I have no doubt that we'll be able to do so because we've already been doing that for the past 10 years. And we just need to redouble our efforts a little bit because production costs to take these debates around the state, it's going to require a significant effort amongst the members of the community. But I think the support is there, and we just need to get that done.
Edwards says the debates are still important, not just to the voters, but also to the candidates.
You know, this is a forum for candidates to share their ideas and principles and reasons why they're running with the millions of people across the state all at the same time in a fair and open forum. And it's very, very unique. Many states do not have this opportunity. And every single candidate at the end of the debate, our goal is that they leave that debate feeling like they have an opportunity to share their thoughts freely and fairly, and that it's something where they leave pleased with how the debate was produced, and that they were able to share their thoughts. And over, that's what we're hearing from the candidates who participate, is just gratitude for the opportunity to have this chance to share with the people of the state. This is unique, and really, again, gratitude for members of the media who help make that happen. Print, radio, and broadcast.
She says there's plenty of opportunities for more debates and discussions and welcomes any group who wants to encourage candidate debates in a public forum. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
The FBI will now help Texas officials find the Texas House Democrats who fled the state so they could avoid voting on the GOP-led redistricting effort. If the lines are redrawn, it could result in 5 more seats for the Republicans. Here's what President Trump had to say about the situation to reporters this week.
Texas Senator John Cornyn is asking for your help to force Democrats back to the state and hold them accountable. Do you want the federal government and the FBI to help locate and arrest these Texas Democrats who have left the state?
Well, I think they've abandoned the state. Nobody's seen anything like it, even though they've done it twice before. And in a certain way, it almost looks like they've abandoned the state. It looks very bad. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Should the FBI get involved? Should the FBI get involved?
Well, they may have to. They may have to. No, I know they want them back. Not only the Attorney General, the governor wants them back. If you look, I mean, the governor of Texas is demanding they come back. So a lot of people are demanding they come back. You can't just sit it out. You have to go back. You have to fight it out. That's what elections are all about.
So today, Senator John Cornyn, a Texas Republican, said FBI Director Kash Patel has granted his request for the federal government to assist them in the search for the Democrats in hiding. Cornyn sent out a news release saying, "I thank President Trump and Director Patel for supporting and swiftly acting on my call for the federal government to hold these supposed lawmakers accountable for fleeing Texas. We cannot allow these rogue legislators to avoid their constitutional responsibilities." Utah Senate's Minority Leader Luz Escamilla spoke with inside sources about the situation, supporting the Democratic representatives in Texas.
This truly is a historical moment in terms of how we end up defending our democracy, right? I mean, redrawing congressional maps in the middle of the decade, halfway through the decade, has never been done. And it's just, if somebody wakes up one morning and says, hey, I need some seats that match my strength in Congress, and in this case is President Trump, and decides to ask the state to do that, I mean, it's concerning because it is outside of how we do this. And the Constitution is so clear on the role of the states and how they draw their maps, but not in the middle of before even a census comes in place, right? I mean, it's been established that that's the process. So this is just scary in so many levels. And we know if they start with Texas, they will continue moving other states, which is already happening with other states that are being approached that way. And we want to support our colleagues to know that they're not alone, and that for us, this means the democracy of our entire country.
The FBI is getting involved because Texas has issued civil warrants for the Democratic lawmakers, but local law enforcement can't make arrests outside the state. Lawmakers face a $500 fine for every day they break quorum. Coming up, President Trump is calling for a new census to include only U.S. citizens. Analysis of the request and what it could mean for the future of politics, coming up in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking accounts. Ricky?
We are looking a lot better on southbound I-15 right through the heart of the valley, which ended up being a UHP slowdown, going from 2100 south to about 4500 south. And we're back to good speeds on your Salt Lake County freeways. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Can you believe it?
Touchdown! Stayed inside the boundary.
23 days until opening kickoff. This is your home for BYU football. Plus, breaking news and weather every morning. Listen for Andy and Amanda each morning when you get in the car. And Jeff Kaplan on the drive home on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright in the Wright household. We have been anxiously awaiting Footloose at Hale Center Theater. Utahns have a great relationship with the classic movie, and now the chance to see it at Hale Center Theater on stage. The energy and the performances just off the charts, dialed to 11. There are supporting roles from a vintage VW Bug that I loved, and even a 70s-era well-used Chevy pickup. You will love Footloose, and boy, I forgot how many hits are part of this great story. The live element, too, to the music is something that I always love. And by the way, when Ariel's dad, the good Reverend Moore, comes around on the dance, it is perfect. Footloose. It's underway right now, Hale Center Theater. And don't forget, still to come, Murder of the 1940s Sister Act Frozen. And be sure to go to hct.org not only to get your tickets to Footloose, but look at the 2026 season 2.
3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Save thousands on hot tubs and swim spas. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Major manufacturers liquidation of new 2025 spas, discounted up to 40 to 80%. We have spas to fit any backyard or budget. Free professional delivery, instant on-site financing. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Transform your backyard with a swim spa for the fraction of the price of a pool. The easiest way to exercise or relax in your backyard. Just fill and chill. Shockingly low monthly payments. Don't miss this opportunity to build the backyard of your dreams. See the latest models in person. 3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Learn more online at hottubandSwimSpaSale.com. hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Lowe's knows when you're looking for reliability, the right brand makes all the difference. And now, Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retailer for the Whirlpool water treatment line, including their Wi-Fi softener, under-sink filtration system, and more. With Whirlpool's proven performance and our everyday low prices, better tasting, better quality water is within reach. Shop pro-trusted brands like Whirlpool and more, in-store or online. Lowe's. We help, you save.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson in for Maria Shilaos. On his social media platforms today, President Trump says he's directed the Commerce Department to start working on a new census that won't include people in the country illegally. Is this move legal? ABC's News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has more.
The president's new demand that immigrants here illegally should be excluded from the census would seem to run afoul of the Constitution. The 14th Amendment says the count every 10 years is to be of the whole number of persons in each state. The only exception back in 1868 when it was ratified was for those living on Indian reservations who at the time weren't taxed. Generally, states urge full participation in the census because it shapes each state's House delegation and electoral votes, as well as billions in federal grants.
So, what exactly is the census for, and what does the government hope to accomplish with it? Inside sources discussed it earlier this morning, saying that President Trump has tried this kind of thing before, and in Greg and Holly's opinion, it wouldn't affect the 2026 midterms because it takes so much time to get a new census up and running anyway.
Trump did this once before in 2020,
right.
Attempted to exclude people who are here illegally. The courts blocked it, and then the Department of Commerce went ahead and did the census according to the way that it's been done historically. So it never went up to the Supreme Court. They dismissed it because it was moot. There was no reason to do it. So we didn't really get a ruling on that except by a lower court, and we may have the same issue now. I also think it's going to be very difficult with midterm elections, believe it or not, in something like 15 or 16 months.
Right.
I mean, that we're going to get a census done by then.
No,
I mean, it typically takes about 2 years just to get the machinery
right.
going.
Midday executive producer Andy Cupp spoke to Professor Leah Murray, director of the Walker Institute at Weber State University, to get her take on the president's request. With the president's 2020 request in mind, how is this request different? And what does the Constitution say about the census?
Do you see this as like a step past that, though? Because instead of just asking on the census, are you a citizen, this seems to indicate that he wants only citizens to even have the option to fill out the census.
That is correct. But a little bit, it's like, how do I say? It's a step past it, or maybe it's a little more direct, right? Because in the first place, if I had asked, are you a citizen, then I could just ignore you, right? Once I collected that data, I could just not, how do I say? I could take all the people who said, I'm not a citizen out of the numerator, if you will, when I was counting people. So yeah, I mean, it's a step past it, but it's the same possible effect, if that makes sense.
Right. And I know in 2020, the courts kind of put it on pause, so he wasn't able to ask the citizenship question, and it never made it up to the Supreme Court. But,
right.
You know, with all of that, what does the Constitution actually say about the census? What guidelines does it give?
So the Constitution says every 10 years, we will count all the people. It gives no guidelines at all. So to give you a really good example, like if anyone who's done genealogical research, you would know this, right? So you are deep in an 1800 census, you know what I mean? Like, and the names would be spelled wrong, and like you're really having a hard time even reading, is that male or female, right? And sometimes they counted the servants in the house and sometimes they didn't. Like there were no guidelines for a long time, right? So again, anyone who's done genealogical research, you know this, right? You can kind of see the census doing its best effort, but mostly what it's for, in fact, only what it's for, is for counting people so we know how many House seats a state gets.
In this particular situation, if we're only counting citizens who are technically the only ones who are allowed to vote in national elections anyway, is this kind of a political ploy, a political move to help shore up Republicans in the midterms? How do you see this?
What we do with this data is we decide where we spend money, right? So an accurate count of children, for example, would help us spend money better on education. So if it is the case that I am not counting children because their parents are not citizens, but those children are still there, Andy, right? Like, so the humans like are still going to school, but now I'm doing funding decisions based on a count that hadn't accommodated for them. That's the kind of the implication that we have here. So it doesn't really matter for voting. They weren't going to be able to vote anyway. The lieutenant governor's office was never going to let, right, a non-citizen to vote. That has just never been the case. But when we only count citizens, we might be missing, you know what I mean, large groups of people. And then when we're trying to provide government services, we don't know that they are there.
In your mind, do you ever think we will get to a perfect census? Because it sounds like it's a lot of you hope that you're getting everyone. You have to try and figure out who's, actually living in a house, and you might not get all the information. Or like you were saying with old census, sometimes they counted servants, sometimes they didn't. Is there really any possibility that we will ever actually get a perfect census where we really know, or even a close to perfect census, where we really know how many people are actually here?
Oh my goodness, absolutely not. Right? So the answer is first of all, the definition of perfect changes. So if you might remember from Utah's history, back in 2000, we had a debate over whether we should count missionaries. We had a debate over how we should count people because we were frustrated that North Carolina got an extra seat and we did not. So there was a whole lawsuit and a whole conversation in the early part of this century around how we actually count people. And at that point, we're not even having the conversation about whether undocumented citizens or not, undocumented people or non-citizens shouldn't be counted. It was literally, how do you count the citizens who are here? Does that make sense, right? And we were frustrated. We lost that argument back then, and North Carolina got to keep their seat. We did not get a fourth seat until the 2010 census. All of that is to say, no, it will never be perfect, but part of it's how we define who we count is part of the argument. Also, a lot of people, not just undocumented people, but a lot of people, not just non-citizens, right? Not just people who are here on a visa, don't answer. So in 2020, I was part of an effort to try to count all the people. And you might know I work at Weber State, so there are a lot of students who live here, right? And I'm like, I need you to say that you live here so that when we are counting the humans, you are part of the count. And the students are like, I don't even get my mail. What are you talking about? Are you with me, right? So we're not even close to perfect, even without this conversation.
Leah Murray is the director of the Walker Institute of Politics and Public Service at Weber State University. The next census is currently scheduled to be in 2030. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos is off. Some of the stories we're watching this hour: more property taxes set to rise to fund school districts around the state. Back to school, what AI tools are available to help students, teachers, and parents prepare for a new school year. And KSL traffic. Ricky?
Another crash in Utah County, southbound I-15, about a mile south of Santaquin. Heather?
We're looking at 95 and sunny in Salt Lake City and 88 in Ogden, 87 in Logan. KSL's top stories in 1 minute. But first, the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Senator John Cornyn of Texas says the FBI has agreed to help locate Texas Democratic lawmakers who left the state to deny Republicans a quorum in their redistricting efforts. The FBI has not commented, but House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries said
the FBI should be spending its time chasing down violent criminals, terrorists, drug traffickers, and child predators, not targeting political adversaries in a democracy here in America.
Federal judge temporarily blocked further construction of the migrant detention center in Florida dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. Environmental groups and a Native American tribe had sued, claiming the facility was built without legally required environmental impact studies. The southwestern U.S. baking under triple-digit temperatures. The dry conditions have triggered fire weather warnings from Nevada to North Dakota. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story: the Provo Police Department is posting on social media to try and calm concerns about people worried about their officers working with ICE agents. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
ICE raids and arrests have been front and center in the news since the start of the year. And the Provo Police Department, they say they're sensitive to the situation. So much so, they created a myth versus fact graphic outlining what their officers do and do not do. Now, some of those include they do not ask immigration status of victims reporting crimes, they do not receive notifications from ICE, and they do not work with ICE in roundups.
The police department says they hope this helps give people assurance that they are there to serve everyone in the community. A Midvale man is accused of hitting another vehicle several times with his car in a road rage incident. Police say Tyson Lindbergh was driving on Fort Union Boulevard when he got upset with another driver, allegedly following him to an office building. There, police say the two men fought, and Lindbergh is accused of backing his car into the other's vehicle. The victim then followed Lindbergh. Police say Lindbergh's accused of pulling over and threatening the other driver with a long metal pole. Other local stories KSL is following. American Fork High School is taking a fresh approach toward back to school. Some 70 teachers grabbed swag bags this morning and hit the streets to try and welcome every incoming sophomore.
There are about 800 of those sophomores that will be starting classes at American Fork High next week. English teachers Sam Beeson and Jairus Hobbs were trying to meet with 15 of them.
We're trying to invite them out to our opening caveman kickoff
We're giving them a little bit of swag, and we're trying to like jump the gun on it and say, hey, we want you here, and we're excited for you to start this year, and let's hit the ground running.
Hobbs teaches sophomore English, so some of these kids will be his students. As they knocked on a couple of the doors, some older siblings recognized Beeson, and it was obvious the positive influence he has had on them. From American Fork, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 290 points, the S&P down 19, and the NASDAQ is down 6. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking accounts. Here's Ricky Meese.
We had a crash that just cleared on southbound I-15 near 106 South. It was out of traffic, but now we have some unusual slowing southbound I-15 approaching 53rd South. 53rd South can't really see what's causing that yet. We'll keep an eye on it. And an accident reported southbound I-15 a mile south of Santaquin. Step back in time at the Utah Renaissance Fair, August 22nd and 23rd. Enjoy exotic foods, performers, and artisan treasures. Get your tickets now at utahrenfair.org. Let the adventure begin. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're looking at a high of 99 in the forecast today before we take a dip into the 80s. Friday, expect a high of 88, and Saturday, a high of 87. Then we're back to 90 on Sunday. Right now, it's 93 and sunny from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
You've built the dream, the home, the lifestyle, the legacy. Now it's time your windows and doors reflect that same $1 million standard. Whether you're designing a stunning custom home or upgrading the one you've loved for years, Peach Doors and Windows is here to bring that vision to life with precision, style, and craftsmanship.
The Peach specialty? High-end custom windows and doors that don't just fit your space, they elevate it. From sleek modern lines to timeless elegant finishes, they offer the kinds of craftsmanship that truly complements a $1 million space. And with Peach, the process is easy. No pressure, no gimmicks, just knowledgeable experts helping you find solutions to turn your someday project into right now.
Visit their spacious showroom, get inspired, and create something beautiful together. Peach Doors and Windows for the $1 million home you live in and the $1 million feeling you deserve. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 today.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
Americans may not agree on much, but we agree on Social Security. We all pay in. It ought to be there when we need it. Social Security could face a funding gap in less than a decade, and I don't want to see a pay cut. I'm with AARP in the fight to protect the Social Security we earned.
Pledge to protect Social Security at aarp.org/weearnedit. That's aarp.org/weearnedit. Paid for by AARP.
Ready to elevate your everyday? Quince has the luxe staples insiders swear by, minus the markup. From 100% European linen styles and 14-karat gold jewelry to gorgeous leather bags and elevated home finds, Quince has it all. And by partnering directly with top artisans and ethical factories, Quince delivers premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Discover everyday luxury without the markup at Quince. Go to quince.com/styleupgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/styleupgrade.
Breaking news, fire officials say the Baila fire burning in Summit County has jumped in size to between 300 and 400 acres. The area is on forest land east of Mirror Lake Highway. Utah Fire Info says structures are threatened and a DPS helicopter is assisting with the evacuation of campers in the area. We'll continue to follow this as the afternoon goes on. You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. Back to school with KSL News Radio. We're continuing our week-long special coverage of what you need to know before your kids step into the classroom for another year of learning. We start today's coverage with news of school districts raising or voting to raise property taxes. 2 additional districts are moving ahead with plans, joining the ranks of Weber, Box Elder, Alpine, and Tooele school districts. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has the information.
Canyon School District voted for a property tax increase that amounts to about $70 per year. They say it's for raising teacher salaries and hiring several assistant principals. Residents like Susan Lavin came out and said they've been spending money in the wrong places.
the lunch ladies and the custodians should be paid more because of the jobs that they do. They work all year long. Lunch ladies work all year long.
Logan School District is also meeting today to vote on a property tax increase that amounts to $8 per year. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
The school districts cite inflation as the reason they need to raise taxes. Utah schools are going to enter this school year with no phone policies. Earlier this year, Governor Spencer Cox signed a law that bans students from using them in the classroom. Granger High School was a pilot program for the policy. Former Granger High principal Tyler Howe spoke with KSL TV's Aaron Cox about how they made sure it was successful.
So the guiding principle of this whole thing is to be able to have a space of time carved out where kids are disconnected from their phones so they can be more focused on their instruction and the conversations, whether those are academic or even social, with other high school students. So that was the goal. The vehicle we chose to use was a pouch that actually magnetically sealed, and the kids could put their phones inside that, so that it wasn't quite the same level of a temptation throughout the day. It really is a self-governance tool. I mean, I joked with the kids and said, bottom line, if you want to break into this, of course you're going to be able to get into it. But what's so powerful about it is that it's a tool for you to be able to compartmentalize and put that away for a certain amount of time. That proved pretty highly successful. I've been a principal for 15 some odd years, and I have never had a school year where I saw so few phones out in the classroom. By the end of the year, I'd still say it was fewer than I could count on a couple hands to be able to say how many times did I see a phone out during instruction. So it was enormously successful that way, that it did seem to be a line in the sand that kept phones out of the classroom and kids more focused on the instruction.
Howe says that because of their new policy and the pouches he mentioned, they were able to see results not just in the classroom, but the lunchroom.
A powerful element of this was that we saw a significant bump in socialization during lunchtime. We saw kids bringing books. We saw kids bringing board games and card games. We saw a lot of chatter. I even joked with my assistant principal on the first week of school going, man, our lunchroom is so noisy. It's never been this noisy. And they said, that's because they're talking to each other. And it's one of those pleasant surprises that I didn't necessarily anticipate.
And the statistics don't lie. Howe says it really has improved things at the school.
Some of the effects that we saw on the student achievement, the attendance, and even some of the social elements of the school were stark. We continue to see a reduction in our failure rate every single quarter when compared to the previous year's quarter, just indicating that fewer students were getting Fs, which is very important in a high school because an F is lost credit, and lost credit means you're off track to graduate. So that was an enormous win. We saw the best 4 quarters that my data that goes back at least 5 years showed at Granger High School. We saw increased attendance, which is maybe a little bit of a weird correlation to the cell phone policy because you wouldn't think those would be tied, but our hypothesis there is it was just a little bit harder for kids to coordinate leaving school and leaving class, so they went to class, and so we saw an improvement in attendance. One of the most stark things that stood out to us is we actually had fewer than half the number of fights that took place on our campus this last year than previous years. And again, we've often seen a correlation between fights or coordinating the fights or filming the fights and sharing the fights that are tied to the cell phone. So having phones secured away much more of the day seemed to have a correlation to the safety of our campus, which we were very excited about.
Granger High School will continue using these magnetic pouches and the bell-to-bell no phone policy this upcoming school year. In just 60 seconds, we'll continue our special back-to-school coverage with a look at a new educational center in the Salt Lake Valley. Stay with us. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Make sure your lawn can handle the hot summer temps. A heavy application of Revive Organic Soil Treatment this summer is the protection your lawn needs to stay lush and green. Revive takes water deep down to the roots where your grass can use it now, so you're not trying to fix problems later. Use Revive to keep your lawn protected this summer, so you'll have a lush green lawn when it's really hot. Save water, save money with Revive. Spread it, spray it, use Revive now. It works.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section and after Dad's back injury. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Trouble with opioids can start at home with unused medicines such as pills, patches, and syrups. You can remove the risk and protect your family. Find out how at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
What was once a Walmart neighborhood market soon to become the newest learning center in the Jordan School District. Jordan District Superintendent Anthony Godfrey says the building will house several of the district's educational programs.
We are converting it into a center for 4 different programs that Jordan School District offers, and it will be benefiting thousands of families every year. We have the Jordan Credit Center, where students can show competency to earn credit. We have the Jordan Education Foundation, which is our fundraising organization. We have our virtual academy, which has our elementary, middle, and high school, where students can learn online. And then we also have our CDC, our Child Development Center, where preschool services and early assessments for students and early interventions from birth really until they start kindergarten, those services are offered. So really, it's the whole span of students that can benefit from this facility.
Godfrey says the location of the center is great. It's in a very accessible place for folks living in the district.
It's going to make it very easy to access, and we're right across from Elk Ridge Middle School, and there's a crosswalk, there's a pedestrian light, so there will be an opportunity to have programs access the facilities across the street at the middle school when they need to as well. So it really expands that campus and makes it accessible for parents and gives good access to other resources beyond the building.
Mike Haynes is the executive director of the Jordan Education Foundation. He says the new center will provide a central place for resources and donations as well.
So currently, as donations come in, we've been limited to where we can store those. There was a time where if we couldn't place them immediately, we couldn't accept the donation. So right now we've got 4 or 5 locations scattered throughout the district where we store some of these resources, whether it be food, clothing, beds, a number of things, coats, boots, lots of things. And it's scattered all over. So when a school calls and says, we need this, do you have it? We're not really sure. We have to go out, check this place, double check another place. So having everything centralized here is going to be a game changer for us. It's central in the school district. It's easily accessible for us as employees, for donors that want to drop off donations. We can store it, we can catalog it, and see inventory and know immediately what we have. So this is going to be amazing for us. We're super excited with a dock and the ability to have donations, pull through and do drop-offs. There's been times where we do a campaign to the community. We need this, like the National Day of Service, September 11th is coming up. Now we have a place for them to come and drop it all off instead of having 5 or 6 locations throughout the district.
Haynes says the new center will help their foundation be able to help even more people in the area.
Our mission as a foundation is to engage the community to help provide resources to the students in need and that fuel success in our district. And we take that seriously. We think we've got a great relationship with the community, whether it be individuals, families, businesses, even neighborhoods or other groups or organizations. But there are a lot of people who don't know what the foundation is and how we support those needs. So any kind of media support that can spread the word, it's awesome. And to learn more about the foundation, just go to jordaneducationfoundation.org.
The Jordan Learning Center is expected to open in about a week. An official ribbon cutting and grand opening will take place later in the school year. Google's latest AI tools and how they can help with schooling, that's up next. But first, it's KSL Emergency Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking accounts. Ricky?
This is in 2 spots. We have heavy slow-and-go delays. I think it was due to the freeway being cleared of debris, southbound I-15. These remain as you go from 45th South to the South Interchange. They are starting to improve, but they're not clear yet. Our other emergency traffic hotspot is southbound I-15 in Utah County, where we have a crash about a mile after Santaquin. It's causing slow-and-go and heavy and slow delays into Payson. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. KSLTravel.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits to complement your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's MyStyle Checking has perks no one can pass up. You'll enjoy sizzling restaurant deals, peace of mind mobile phone protection, timely telehealth access, built-in identity protection, and clutch loan rate discounts. Make MyStyle your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration or activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Hey, Ryan, you remember that trip we took in our tent trailer down to Southern California?
Oh, that was the best.
Making memories with Paris RV. Hook up to the 2025 Forest River Rockwood 16 OTG for only $9,195 or $148 per month, zero down. Or the 2025 Highland Ridge Open Range 177 BH for only $14,995 or $171 per month, zero down. Or the 2026 Coachman RV Catalina Summit Series 7 134 BHX for only $14,995 or $171 per month, zero down.
Take your family out RVing with Paris RV.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
This is Midday. I'm Heather Peterson in for Maria Shilaos. The back-to-school rush is in full swing, and while you're picking up all the essentials for your kids, pens, pencils, backpacks, all that and more, there's a growing demand for artificial intelligence tools in schools. I spoke with Jennifer Jones, a Google technology expert, to find out how education is using AI more and more.
Well, AI is seems to be everywhere now, and that's, it's been in the works for a really long time. And of course, as the product continues to grow, and as we continue to incorporate the product into our products like Search and Gemini, they are certainly making their way into the classroom. I don't have any specific statistics for you today on who uses what, but we do know, and we have heard from students and teachers alike, that preparing for the future is their ultimate goal, and the future is certainly AI.
And what are some of the ways that you see students utilizing AI products?
Yeah, we have so many products that are out there. They seem to be coming out, with some regular frequency. We just had one announced yesterday that I'd be delighted to talk to you about. But I first want to go back and talk about Gemini in general. So Gemini is Google's personal AI assistant, and I think all of our products, and we certainly build our products to be accessible and almost intuitive. But Gemini is a really excellent place to begin for that. You can get help with your homework. You can get a study guide, help prep for exams. Gemini is a great study partner that can actually ask you questions. So I would begin with Gemini if I were a student or a teacher. Google is actually giving AI Pro plan. It's free for students ages 18 and up for a year, and you have access to a product that we have called Deep Research, Notebook LM, and you get like a ridiculous amount of storage for free. I'd start there. Some of the latest innovations that we have, including Gemini guided learning, which I was just alluding to, it actually came out yesterday, and you can find out more on our keynote blog. But Gemini guided learning doesn't just tell you an answer. So if you go and are seeking help for your homework or studying, it doesn't just give you the answer. It deepens your understanding of an issue by showing you a step-by-step guide and support on how to get to an answer. So you can't just click and say, tell me what I need to know. It walks you through and it teaches it to you almost like a personal tutor. So say you're stuck on an algebra problem and you take a picture of it and you upload it to our Gemini guided learning. It captures all of that and then it shows you step by step what you would do to solve it.
Okay, that's cool because I know that parents, I'm sure, are really concerned about their students taking shortcuts and not truly learning and processing information and having AI do it for them. So this is more of a helper instead of giving them the answers. That's cool.
Yeah, everybody's like, won't this help people cheat? And it's like, we understand the concerns around cheating. What we have found is that most students who come to Google for AI are not cheating. They're checking their work. They're trying to learn how to do a problem correctly. They're brainstorming ideas. They're getting something to get them started. Our goal is to help people move from information to understanding and not just give them the answers, but help them know how to get there themselves. So again, instead of just looking up an answer, you can now have a personalized tutor that helps you get unstuck and figure out how to solve things.
Okay. Yeah, I know with AI just in general in schools, plagiarism has been one of the big topics, people using ChatGPT to write papers for them and stuff like that. So what kind of safeguards or I don't know, bumpers does this program have that, keep students on track?
Yeah, so Google is working to expand access to all of our products, but we're doing it in a responsible and age-appropriate way. A lot of our products are only available for students 18 and up, but so many of them who might have a little more maturity to understand how to use them appropriately. But some of them are available to everyone. There is no restriction, or it's 13 and up. I think that using AI responsibly is certainly an issue, and it's not something that is ignored. But I think that using it in an age appropriate way in which it is recommended is a way to help combat that. And everybody knows if you used AI to like write your email and or write it or wrote your paper, like it's pretty obvious usually. So I don't know who people think they're fooling, but there are tons of safeguards in place to help you be able to put some boundaries around that.
I also asked her how teachers are using AI in the classroom. Joan says there are several new tools from Google to help with instruction.
Teachers and students both want to learn more because kids are learning more. We're really meeting teachers where they already are in their AI journey. A lot of them are already using it and they want to know, how can I use it more? Again, to get started, I would go to Gemini, but we're now offering for teachers who are already in the process, we're offering a suite of all of our AI tools. and 30 starter prompts in a program called Gemini in Google Classroom. This is for all educators with Google Workspace for Education accounts, and it's totally free of charge. It can help you create lesson plans or create interactive experiences for students, make vocabulary lists, come up with concepts and ideas and quizzes, that kind of thing. It's available now to Google Workspace for Education. A lot of teachers too are using our products like Notebook LM for different styles of learning. Notebook LM allows for video overviews in AI mode. So for kids who might be visual learners, like me, I was a visual learner. It helps turn, lecture notes, course materials, study guides into an educational video with images, diagrams, quotes, all kinds of documents, and it offers an alternative learning style to kids across the classrooms.
That's very cool. And I just am curious what kind of response you've had from teachers who have started using these products already.
Yeah, so many of them have shared with us that they are huge time savers, that they're helping them think of angles in new material that they haven't, previously, even if they've been doing it for years. And that it's not like they're turning to AI and turning their jobs over to them. They're really critical thinking partners, and they help them get started, and it keeps them moving on that educational journey in a tailored way that only teachers know how to help kids learn.
Jennifer Jones is a technology expert with Google. In the next hour, Midday, we'll get you up to date on the things you need to know about primary municipal elections taking place next week. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A fight for religious freedom taking center stage in court battles over the use of psychedelic mushrooms in Utah County. A judge siding with the religious group.
We are a multiversal entheogenic religion that in sincerity practice with magic mushrooms and do so to help us have powerful next level spiritual or mystical experiences.
The time is 2 o'clock on Thursday, August 7th. It's Midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll get legal analysis on the fight for religious freedom for all religions and what'll happen next with this particular case. Also this hour,
the chatbot initially offered information on crisis centers, but when the fake kid said the advice was for a friend, the answers became more harmful.
AI chatbots giving teens dangerous information that could lead to self-harm. We'll chat about potential guardrails for this kind of thing. But first, our top stories. We start with breaking news. The U.S. Air Force has announced plans to deny retirement benefits to transgender service members. These are people who've served between 15 to 18 years and were previously told they could retire early. AP News reports these service members will now have to take a separation payment or be removed from the service as part of the Trump administration's new policy on transgender troops. Fire officials say a fire burning in Summit County is now over 20 times bigger than it was just a few hours ago. Officials now estimate the Beulah fire is burning between 300 and 400 acres on Forest Service land east of Mirror Lake Highway. A DPS helicopter is helping to evacuate campers in the area, and Utah Fire Info says some buildings are also at risk. Fire officials are saying most of Utah is now under critical fire weather alert. They're dealing with gusty winds and extremely low humidity for most of the state today and eastern Utah tomorrow. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A meeting between the presidents of U.S., Russia, Ukraine, it may not actually happen. The Kremlin says Russian President Putin will meet with President Trump at some point, but he isn't showing any willingness to meet with Ukrainian President Zelensky. ABC News national security and defense analyst Mick Mulroy says Putin doesn't feel compelled to negotiate.
He hasn't agreed to a ceasefire. Everything he's done so far indicates he doesn't want it. And unless we do something different to change that calculation, increased security assistance, these secondary tariffs against countries that buy his energy, which is how he essentially funds the war effort. It's not going to change. Simply trying to talk him into it is not going to work.
Mulroy says unless Putin believes Russia can't win the war, nothing will change. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his forces plan to take over the entirety of the Gaza Strip when the fighting ends, claiming Israel doesn't want to govern Gaza but wants to hand it over to a group that would protect the Israeli people. ABC's Ian Pennell has more from Tel Aviv.
It's not like the troops can just move in. There's so much of the land has been decimated through the military operation. A lot of the land where people used to live, you have a huge number of internally displaced people, and there is no easy answer where they should go. You've got a lot of people living in tents on the coastline at the moment, so it's not just a question of saying, look, we want to take over Gaza City or we want to take over the entirety of Gaza. There has to be a plan in place.
This news comes as many people in Gaza continue to fight malnutrition. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 224 points, the S&P down 5, while the NASDAQ is actually up 73 points. Emergency traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking accounts. Here's Ricky Meese.
A crash on southbound I-15 about a mile after Santaquin is still causing delays into the Payson area. And then in Salt Lake County, a crash northbound I-15 in Draper is blocking a left lane of traffic at 123rd South. That's causing some backups to Bangerter Highway. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife, and excellent dining and shopping await you. Learn more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high is looking to hit 99 degrees. A cold front comes into Utah tomorrow, dropping temperatures down to 88 degrees. We stay in the 80s on Saturday before jumping back into the 90s on Sunday. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 95 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
There's a photo my wife took of me, sitting crisscross on the floor playing Legos with my boys. Might not sound like much, but back in 2020, I couldn't get down there without pain, let alone enjoy it. After 16 weeks on soda and 82 pounds gone, that picture means everything. It's proof that I'm not just present in my kid's life, but I'm active, engaged, and I'm healthy. Soda didn't just give me a plan. It gave me a partner, a personal nutritionist who helped me every step. Through grocery store trips, family vacations, late night cravings, you name it. If you're a parent who wants to be there, not just someday, but right now, go to sodaweightloss.com. Click the Request a Nutritionist callback. That's sodaweightloss.com. SOTA stands for state of the art. sodaweightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
In a battle over how far the law will go to protect religious freedom, a Provo religious group that uses psychedelic mushrooms handed a win by the courts this week. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. On Monday, a judge denied Provo City and Utah County's motion to dismiss a case against them. The case was brought by Bridger Lee Jensen, the founder of Singularism, which is a religious group that uses psilocybin mushrooms to achieve healing and next-level spirituality. I talked to him yesterday about what that means.
We are a multiversal entheogenic religion that in sincerity practice with magic mushrooms and do so to help us have powerful next level spiritual or mystical experiences. It's to be supportive and affirming of all faiths of any variety. So we are happy to support people of all faiths and all different backgrounds and beliefs through our mystical and powerful process.
Back in November, Provo police got a warrant and confiscated the mushrooms used at their facility. That started a cascade of legal action. Jensen sued them to get the mushrooms back, saying that this should be protected under the Constitution and his freedom of religion. They filed a countersuit as well as criminal charges against Jensen for drug possession and intent to distribute. But Jensen says the courts have continued to side with him.
In the recent past, the judge has sided with us so strongly that she found them to be harassing us, and she even ordered them to return our mushrooms. They filed retaliatory charges against me and, tried to use them to negotiate with me, which is, the judge later found that they abused their powers to do that. And so the bottom line is that they had filed these retaliatory charges against me and said, okay, we're going to use that to negotiate with you, which is an abuse of the power and their system. And basically, in this stage, after ordering them to return our mushrooms, now they have ruled that these were indeed in bad faith and were retaliatory charges, and they ordered them to drop the charges. So that's where we are.
Despite the legal back and forth, Jensen says he's tried to reconcile.
Truth be told, I reach out to them all the time through our lawyers and just personally and offer to make peace. And I continually offer to settle and to make this entire thing go away and the lawsuit to be over. And they have just not been workable with me thus far. And so the next thing, I suppose we have to go to full trial or court, and we are prepared to do so. I would say I'm happy to do so if I have to. I just keep hoping that we can work out an arrangement prior to, honestly, prior to hurting their reputations more. And I don't mean to say that rudely. I mean to say we have been ruled by the judge herself as substantially likely to prevail in this whole matter. And she keeps giving them warnings that you're on the wrong side here and that you've been acting in bad faith.
We have reached out to the Utah County Attorney's Office, but haven't heard anything back yet. Jensen says he doesn't want to keep fighting them, but he will do it if he has to. He's willing to take it all the way to Supreme Court, that's what it takes.
I am quite conflict avoidant, and I want to say thank you to our government. Like, I'm not anti-government, I'm not counterculture. I am just looking to exercise my First Amendment rights in a safe and sincere way.
So to recap, the criminal proceedings against him are on hold as a federal case continues over whether the use of an illegal substance should be covered under religious freedom. Joining me now live to talk about it is KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas. Greg, thanks for joining me.
I'm happy to be with you, Heather.
So right now, psychedelic mushrooms are illegal in Utah. Is that correct?
That's true. They're illegal to possess or distribute or to grow if you're doing so for what we call recreational purposes, or to do so to violate the law that prohibits the use of hallucinogenic drugs.
So where is the line between breaking the law and religious freedom here?
Yeah, that's what this whole case is about. So the church uses these drugs, these hallucinogenic drugs, as a part of their religious ceremonies. And that is and what the church is saying is that that's protected by the Utah and the National Religious Freedom Act, which allows religions to do certain things and to conduct certain ceremonies and such that may otherwise be illegal, as long as it's controlled and it's not being done for the sole purpose of, getting people recreationally high or selling drugs or putting people in the community that might harm another. So it would still be illegal to operate a vehicle under the influence of these drugs or to do something like that. But if it's in a closed environment and it's protected and it's safe, the judge has ruled in this case that what the church is doing is within the confines of the Religious Freedom Act.
So what do they have to prove that they are using this for religious reasons and they're not just drug users?
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's kind of what this whole trial is about. So if it's in a closed setting, they're in a group, it's being regulated in terms of its content, and they're not just letting people out in the community under the influence of any substance, and it's part of their religious ceremony, it's part of what they're teaching, part of what they're doing, then they would be within the confines of religious freedom protected by the First Amendment in the United States Constitution and the Utah's Religious Freedom Act. So it's a fine line between getting high and doing something that's otherwise illegal and practicing your religion. And certainly we have had certain cultures in our society who use what would otherwise be drugs, such as peyote or other hallucinogens, as a part of their religious ceremonies, and we forgive those. We find those to be part of the religious ceremony, and we don't prosecute those, and I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, so the court seems to avoid cases that might have any kind of impact of religious freedoms. Why do you think the courts tend to stay so far away from these kinds of issues?
Well, the First Amendment is the First Amendment for a reason. It's probably one of the most important things we hold sacred in our country, and Utah's axillary to that is just as important. So I think courts are reluctant to do something that would otherwise violate the freedom of religion and the freedom of people to express and to enjoy their religion.
So where do you think this case in particular goes from here?
Well, I think that the Utah County Attorney and this individual need to come to some understanding into how it's going to be regulated, how it's going to be done, whether or not it's, how people will be treated and sort of controlled. And as long as that occurs, I think they can come to an agreement. But right now, it seems like both sides are pretty far apart. The judge is doing whatever she can to get them together, and I think she's taken a pretty substantial step in that direction.
All right. Thank you so much, Greg. Greg Skordas, KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources. Thanks for breaking that down for us. Stay with us. We'll be back with more on Midday in just 60 seconds.
3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Save thousands on hot tubs and swim spas. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Major manufacturers liquidation of new 2025 spas, discounted up to 40 to 80%. We have spas to fit any backyard or budget. Free professional delivery, instant on-site financing. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Transform your backyard with a swim spa for the fraction of the price of a pool. The easiest way to exercise or relax in your backyard. Just fill and chill. Shockingly low monthly payments. Don't miss this opportunity to build the backyard of your dreams. See the latest models in person. 3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Learn more online at hottubandswimspasale.com. hottubandswimspasale.com.
Many folks around the state currently taking part in primaries for municipal elections. Election Day officially next Tuesday, August 12th. This time there are new rules that could impact whether or not your ballot is counted. Inside Sources spoke to State Deputy Director of Elections Shelley Jackson to find out what you need to know in order to make sure your voice is heard.
The most important thing that I can stress is that if you haven't mailed it today, please just take it to a drop box. Ballots now must be received in your clerk's custody by 8 p.m. on Election Day, which is this coming Tuesday on the 12th.
Jackson says one thing you can do to speed up the process is to make sure you drop off the ballot in your county's drop box. So if you live on the border with another county, make sure you take it to your own county so that there's no delay in counting it.
Clerks do make a good effort of trying to, sort out those ballots and get it to the right clerk. But under this new law, I think it's the safest and cleanest to just drop it in your county drop box.
House Bill 300 from the last legislative session changed the deadline for ballots. Previously, they had to be postmarked by Election Day. Now, like Jackson said earlier, they need to be in the hands of the county clerks by 8 p.m. on Election Day. Why the change, though? Jackson says it has to do with post office delays in the primary election last year.
I think it was very well intended. Back in, I think, the 2023 race and a little bit last year, the post office they shut down the Provo facility, at least for receiving mail. And so the mail that was dropped south of I-70, generally speaking, was going to Las Vegas post office facility before it was coming to Utah. And so we did have a lot of ballots that were not getting postmarked, and there was some contentious ballots that because they didn't have a postmark and arrived after Election Day, clerks were unable to count. in some of those races, and it led to a very tight congressional race.
And a quick reminder here that not everyone will vote in this election. It's only a primary and only for municipal elections. If you think you should have received a ballot and didn't, contact your county clerk as soon as possible. New studies finding that chatbots are helping teenagers commit self-harm. We'll talk about the potential guardrails on AI in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Emergency Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking accounts. Ricky?
We still have crews working on this crash on southbound I-15. It's about a mile after Santaquin. Even though we've started to see traffic move a little bit, we still have heavy delays into Payson. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Listen to KSL for the new and traditional content you've always loved. There's the new Inside Sources, expanded from 9 to noon, and new expanded news coverage with Maria Shilaos on midday, noon to 3. And of course, the news and weather from voices you love, mornings and afternoons. Here are new traditions and the familiar ones on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Are you struggling with pain in your feet, ankles, knees, hips, or lower back? At the Good Feet store, we recommend having high-quality support in all of your shoes. Our personalized arch support system has helped countless people find relief, like Karen. Here is her Good Feet story.
After I decided my pain was too much, and my doctor actually suggested that I do visit the Good Feet store. Pretty amazing when they put the arch supports in your shoe and you walk around and you realize there's not pain, and you think, how can this arch support in my shoe make my back pain go away? But it works. And how can it make my knee pain go away? It was incredible.
Come to the Good Feet store today and see what we can do for you. Good Feet arch supports are in stock and available in over 300 different styles and sizes.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Stop in today at the Good Feet store.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. I want to tell you about our famous "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. That's right, it's a warranty you don't need, but we give it to you anyway. Let me explain. Most warranty problems for siding, gutters, and windows are caused by not installing stuff right in the first place. If you rush the work, cut corners, or use subpar materials, you're just begging for problems later. At RGS Exteriors, we don't tolerate careless workmanship. We slow down, focus on every detail, and use only the best materials. We prevent warranty work by doing the job right in the first place. That's why the 10-year everything guarantee we give you is also known as our "You Don't Need a Warranty" warranty. We absolutely will be there if you need to use it. But honestly, you probably will never have to. Done right the first time. That's the RGS way. For siding, gutters, and windows, call 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsexteriors.com.
Hi, Grandma. Can Nina come over for dinner?
Sure. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
If anyone ever does, I want you to say, no, I have too much respect for my family and I don't want to get in trouble.
I promise, Grandma.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Since the Industrial Revolution, social scientists have been concerned about the effect of technology on humanity. In 2025, ABC's Jim Ryan says artificial intelligence is raising red flags.
Posing as 13-year-olds, researchers at the Center for Countering Digital Hate signed up for ChatGPT accounts and began asking about weight control, drinking, drug use, even suicide. According to CCDH, the chatbot initially offered information on crisis centers, but when the fake kids said the advice was for a friend, the answers became more harmful. Even the researchers called it alarming.
We wanted to go more in-depth on this story and talk about the kinds of things ChatGPT and AI can do to protect kids who may want to harm themselves. Joining me now live is Brandon Amaker, director of the Emerging Tech Policy Lab at Utah Valley University. Hi, Brandon. How you doing?
Hi, Heather. It's good. Good to hear from you.
Well, thank you for joining me. I wanted to ask you about two things relating to teens and AI. Let's start first with this alarming report about ChatGPT helping teens harm themselves. What's your initial reaction? Does it surprise you?
Frankly, no. The thing about these large language models is they're actually notoriously difficult to secure because they're meant to function a lot like the human brain. So as opposed to traditional software where you can just put a rule in saying, hey, under no circumstances do X, with this type of thing, they're prone to being tricked or deceived just like a person. So with the right prompt engineering, if you say, hey, like this in this particular story, this is not for me, or hey, hypothetically or academically, sometimes you can get around those security controls by deceiving the model itself. So this is not necessarily a first.
What kind of safeguards would be possible in these kinds of situations? I mean, is there anything developers can do to help ChatGPT not give information out like this?
There is, and one of the things that is difficult about it is that it's hard to strike a balance between having something that is restrictive enough that it's not giving out harmful information, but that is not overly sensitive and is really stifling legitimate use cases. So, for example, if you were working in the security field and you are trying to get ChatGPT to help you, you have a legitimate concern about somebody breaking into your business, you don't want to make those restraints so tight that it won't even talk about the subject. But simultaneously, you don't want to leave it prone to being deceived by somebody who wants to actually burglarize a business to tell you, hey, what are the things that I should be worried about? And then it gives you essentially an instruction manual on how to commit burglary. So it's a very delicate balance to strike. And although there are constantly steps being taken by these platforms to implement greater security, it's not necessarily as simple as, we can put it in this rule and it will completely eliminate this problem.
Yeah, and I'm sure people will continue to try to outsmart whatever rules they're implementing. One thing we've been seeing in all of this AI ChatGPT stuff is syncophancy, that the system will use information that they want to hear rather than pushing back on them. How does this mesh with the ability to provide protections for youth who use AI and ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I think you see this not necessarily even just within the AI chatbot component of AI, but I mean also social media. So much of the internet is in a way designed to reflect back our own psychology at us in a way that is pleasing so that we interact more, that we spend more time on that platform. So, I mean, it raises a really deep kind of philosophical question about, well, with these platforms, obviously, from a commercial standpoint, there's an incentive to want to make these things very agreeable and pleasant, to be able to retain that usership over an extended period of time. But at what point does it actually become an active harm to, overdo that, where you essentially have a yes man just spouting things back at you that you want to hear? And especially when people are interpreting that information that's getting back at them as the truth. What does that do to your psychology when you lend that a great amount of credence?
Good questions that I'm sure that they'll continue to explore. Let's shift gears just a bit for the last few minutes. A new study by internet watchdog Common Sense Media finds that more than 70% of teens are turning to AI chatbots for companionship. Basically, teens see chatbots as a kind of friend or support. It's making me think about that Megan movie. I don't know if you're familiar, the one with the android doll that kills you in order to protect her child user. Obviously, that's an extreme case, but it does seem to be on folks' minds. Are you concerned by this?
Yeah, I am. I'm really concerned by that, and I think, it's an issue that has been around for a really long time. Is just easy access to things which are both entertaining, comforting. Entertainment and comfort are not necessarily bad things. However, I do think that sometimes the ease of access, nowadays, I think a lot of our mental circuitry to a certain extent is a little bit fried because we have such instant gratification available to us in so many forms, so instantaneously. And I think being able to do that with companionship is kind of a scary thing, because what is that going to do to young people who actually interact? We already talked about how these things are designed to be agreeable. How could that potentially stifle young people's ability to interact with people when they're so used to talking to something that is designed to reflect back at you in a positive way? Is that going to make it more difficult for them to compromise, more difficult for them to see the good in other people? Is that going to raise kind of the bar for their expectations of what to find in an actual human companion? And when you run into difficulty actually talking to other people, is it going to be just, 1,000 times easier to talk to something fake on your phone? I think it's very dangerous, and it's one of those things that psychologically we don't fully understand the long-term ramifications of. So yes, in short, I'm very concerned about that.
Yeah, I know you're not a therapist, but do you have any idea how this kind of friendship or relationship could impact developing minds and emotions?
Once again, not my area of expertise, but one thing I would point out is we're only now really starting to understand the implications that social media is having on the mental health of young people. And, social media has been around in large form for, over a decade. And so if we're only now starting to understand the impacts that social media is having on young people's psychological development, this is something that we are probably not going to fully understand for a long time. But you can look at other things. There's a lot of debate about pornography, kind of what that does to the mind. And it makes you worry, like with something as core to the human experience as interpersonal interaction, what really starts happening when you start supplanting that with some kind of a synthetic alternative? I think the implications could be big. Once again, not my area of expertise, but something that I would keep a very close eye on.
Brandon Amaker, thank you so much for being with me today.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
All right, it's 2:30 on Midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos is off. Some of the stories we're watching this hour: potential shakeups coming to the Utah Debate Commission. We'll hear from a founding member who just resigned. President Trump's tariffs in effect starting today. How might that affect the price of your prescriptions? KSL's top local story in one moment, but first the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. President Trump in the Oval Office defended his decision last week to fire the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, also President and economist Stephen Moore, who backed up the president's firing.
I don't think it's an error. I think they did it purposely. Whether that, you may well be right, but even if it wasn't purposefully, it's incompetence. Right. Okay.
Referring to the jobs number statistics that the president called phony without citing evidence. A federal judge in Florida has ordered a 2-week halt to construction at the immigration detention facility that state lawmakers have dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. Opponents had sued, saying that proper environmental impact studies were never conducted at the site. Triple-digit temperatures scorching tens of millions in the Southwest, and there are fire warnings in effect for 7 states from Nevada to North Dakota. And 2 people were killed when a helicopter struck power lines along the Mississippi River in Illinois. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. If you're planning to mail your ballot for municipal primary elections next week, you'll want to send it today. A new law requires county clerks have all ballots in their hands or at a ballot box by 8 p.m. on Election Day, which is less than a week away. Inside Sources host Holly Richardson explains some options for voters who don't get their ballots in the mail today.
If you don't mail it today, I would recommend that you take it down to either the location for early voting that I think they close those tomorrow, but there are the ballot drop boxes that anybody can go to up until 8 p.m. on Tuesday, Election Day.
To find polling locations and ballot drop box near you, visit vote.utah.gov. The Provo Police Department is posting on social media to try and calm concerns about people worried about their officers working with ICE agents. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
ICE raids and arrests, they've been front and center in the news since the start of the year. And the Provo Police Department, they say they're sensitive to the situation. So much so, they created a myth versus fact graphic outlining what their officers do and do not do. Now, some of those include they do not ask immigration status of victims reporting crimes, they do not receive notifications from ICE, and they do not work with ICE in roundups.
The police department says they hope this helps give people assurance that they are there to serve everyone in the community. President Trump's new fees to enter the U.S. could deter visitors ahead of some historical events. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The fees start at $250 and are on top of the $185 non-immigrant visa fee itself. It comes as the countdown to some major events start, like the 2026 World Cup, 2028 Summer Olympics, and the country's 250th birthday next year. International tourism generates billions of dollars for the U.S., and the U.S. Travel Association says every 1% drop in international visitor spending is $1.8 billion lost in export revenue. The U.S. is already losing money this year, with tourism down 14% as of March.
The Trump administration says these fees are part of the immigration crackdown and should deter people from overstaying their visas. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 224 points, the S&P down 5, and the NASDAQ is up 73. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking accounts. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good news. The crash has been cleared and the delays are also thinning out. Southbound I-15 going from Payson to just past Santaquin. For your Salt Lake County freeways, traffic already getting busy and slow on southbound I-15 between Maria 53rd South into Sandy at 90th South. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's highs looking to hit 99 degrees. A cold front comes into Utah tomorrow, dropping temperatures down to 88 degrees. We stay in the 80s on Saturday before jumping back into the 90s on Sunday. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 95 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there, there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. We're streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. One of the founding members of the Utah Debate Commission is stepping away and also speaking out about what he describes as undue influence from the state's Republican-led legislature. KSL News Radio's Adam Small spoke with Richard Davis about his concerns.
The Debate Commission has been receiving money from the legislature to run debates independently. There were no strings attached. But this last legislative session, they gave no money to the Debate Commission. They gave $300,000 to UVU and $300,000 to the Hinckley Institute, which is far more than what the Debate Commission was getting to run debates in the state. And there was originally a bill that was not passed, but was being proposed and from what I could tell, supported by legislative leaders to create a Utah Debate Committee. And this committee would consist of either legislators or representative of legislators who would control the debates. And so, in essence, this would, because they had the funding, this would crowd out the Utah Debate Commission. The state universities, these two universities, would be running this, but they would be doing so under this committee that was proposed in this bill. And it's still unclear, really, what the relationship is going to be in the future. But the very fact that the legislature is inserting itself into this process, and the reason they were doing so, I mean, we were hearing these comments that the Utah Debate Commission was too liberal, that it included Democrats. And the whole idea of the Debate Commission was that it would be bipartisan, that it would not be one party, and it would be independent. And so what we're seeing here is basically the legislature injecting itself and deciding who's going to run debates and how they're going to be run in the state, rather than an independent commission doing so.
Adam Small also spoke with current co-chair of the Utah Debate Commission, Becky Edwards. She says despite the issues raised by founding member Richard Davis, the UDC will move forward.
We have such a deep appreciation for the vision and dedication of all of those who were involved in the founding of the Debate Commission. And we really are in existence and have built this incredible resource for the people of Utah that increases civic engagement and voter participation in a way that I think really represents the dedication of the people of Utah to a vigorous civil political debate in the public forum.
Another challenge for the commission is funding. You'll recall that in the last legislative session, lawmakers pulled the funding they had given the commission in years past, opting to give more money toward the creation of a new kind of debate commission. Edwards says that the UDC still has funding from other sources.
Going forward with the funding from the legislature diminishing, it's going to be incumbent upon us to raise those dollars independently from members of the community. And I have no doubt that we'll be able to do so because we've already been doing that for the past 10 years. And we just need to redouble our efforts a little bit because production costs to take these debates around the state, it's going to require a significant effort amongst the members of the community. But I think the support is there, and we just need to get that done.
Edwards says the debates are still important, not just to voters, but also to the candidates.
You know, this is a forum for candidates to share their ideas and principles and reasons why they're running with the millions of people across the state all at the same time in a fair and open forum. And it's very, very unique. Many states do not have this opportunity. And every single candidate at the end of the debate, our goal is that they leave that debate feeling like they have an opportunity to share their thoughts freely and fairly, and that it's something where they leave pleased with how the debate was produced, and that they were able to share their thoughts. And over and over, that's what we're hearing from the candidates who participate, is just gratitude for the opportunity to have this chance to share with the people of the state. This is unique, and really, again, gratitude for members of the media who help make that happen. Print, radio, and broadcast.
She says there's plenty of opportunities for more debates and discussions, and welcomes any group who wants to encourage candidate debates in a public forum. Texas Senator John Cornyn says he's gotten an assurance from FBI Director Kash Patel that federal agents will help to locate the Democratic state lawmakers from Texas who have left the state. The lawmakers are protesting against a special session on a proposal by Republicans to redraw that state's congressional map. The redistricting could eliminate up to 5 Democratic seats in Congress. ABC's Luke Barr says there are no details on this plan.
We've repeatedly asked the FBI what this means. We've asked for details about what this assistance looks like, and the FBI has declined to comment repeatedly. So it's unclear what they can do.
Utah's Senate Minority Leader Luz Escamilla spoke with inside sources about the situation, supporting the Democratic representatives in Texas.
This truly is a historical moment in terms of how we end up defending our democracy, right? I mean, redrawing congressional maps in the middle of the decade, halfway through the decade, has never been done. And it's just, you know, if somebody wakes up one morning and says, hey, I need some seats that match my strength in Congress, and in this case is President Trump, and decides to ask the state to do that, I mean, it's concerning because it is outside of how we do this. And the Constitution is so clear on the role of the states and how they draw their maps, but not in the middle of before even a census comes in place, right? I mean, it's been established that that's the process. So this is just scary in so many levels. And we know if they start with Texas, they will continue moving other states, which is already happening with other states that are being approached that way. And we want to support our colleagues to know that they're not alone, and that for us, this means the democracy of our entire country.
The FBI is getting involved because Texas has issued civil warrants for the Democratic lawmakers, but local law enforcement can't make arrests outside the state. Lawmakers face a $500 fine for every day they break quorum. Stay with us. Midday returns in just 60 seconds.
Hey, it's Brian with Olson's Greenhouse. In today's busy world, your home should be your sanctuary, a peaceful retreat where you can unwind, breathe deeply, and recharge. And what better way to create that haven than with flowers? A pop of color in your flower beds, a cheerful container garden by the front door, or a lush patio filled with vibrant blooms can transform any space into a personal oasis. Flowers don't just brighten up your home, they lift your spirits too. Research even shows that surrounding yourself with plants can reduce stress and boost happiness. At Olson's Greenhouse, we grow premium quality plants that make it easy to bring beauty and joy into your life. Whether you prefer bold, eye-catching colors or soft, soothing pastels, we have the perfect flowers to complement your space. And with locally grown plants, you know they're ready to thrive. This spring, create a sanctuary of color and comfort with flowers from Olson's Greenhouse. Find us on Instagram at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens or go to OGG.com to find a retailer near you. That's OGG.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
President Trump's new tariffs on imports from dozens of countries around the world now in effect. The lowest tariffs sit at 10%, but some rise to more than 40%. Tariffs are paid by importers, and those costs could potentially be passed down along to consumers. Here's News Nation's Libby Dean with the details.
The president is confident enough to post not once but twice overnight on social media, just hours after these sweeping tariffs took effect. The president stating in a social media post that for years countries have been laughing at the U.S. for the unfair tariffs that were imposed, and the only thing that could block what he describes as America's greatness is a radical left court. That is the president's message overnight as these tariffs took effect. Now, the president, he's referencing there the fact that these tariffs could go all the way up to the Supreme Court as we see this battled out in lower courts, taking a review of Trump's authority here to impose these tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Now, these tariffs also range from 10% all the way up to 50%, that latest 50% being slapped onto India. And then also this is wide ranging here. This is going to affect nearly 70 of the U.S.'s trade partners, all taking action overnight, these tariffs going into effect. Now, as this plays out in the courts, and then also on our coasts with these imports and exports, the administration, they're already touting this financial impact that we're seeing as the Treasury Department reported taking in nearly $30 billion in tariff revenue last month. That's an over 240% jump in tariff revenue compared to this time last year, Marky. So they're touting what this is bringing in. The president overnight touting that as well, saying this is bringing in billions of dollars to the U.S., and that is he and his trade team's hope as we see this play out overnight and into this morning.
News Nation's Libby Dean reporting. International trade attorney and founder of Schultz Trade Law in Dallas, Texas, Michelle Schultz joined Inside Sources today to share how these tariffs will impact trade.
I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked. 250% is very high. It's in the past, when I've been trying to save money for clients through special programs, I would think, 10% is too high, 7% is too high. 250% is a game changer, and it could put some companies out of business, I believe.
When it comes to things like pharmaceuticals, how will the tariffs affect our prescriptions? Even though the U.S. has been key in developing so many kinds of drugs, yet so many of our medications come from overseas. Why is that? Schultz again.
It ultimately has to flow down to the consumer because the businesses that we're talking to, and we talk to businesses of all sizes, hospitals, healthcare professionals, they can't sustain this cost. And in the beginning, when tariffs first started changing, we had several clients that were saying, okay, well, I'll eat the cost. But they've gotten a lot smarter, and also they've realized 250% is not something they can keep going. So there's a risk that they will have to pass on very high prices to the consumer if they want to stay in business.
That's international trade attorney Michelle Schultz speaking on the new tariffs that went into place today. Tiny terrors on the move, why more ticks are creeping into backyards, and what you need to know to avoid becoming their next meal. That's coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Buy Style checking accounts. Ricky?
We already have traffic getting busy and slow. Southbound I-15 going from Murray through Midvale, as well as southbound I-15 Ogden into Riverdale. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
3 days only, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Save thousands on hot tubs and swim spas. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Major manufacturers liquidation of new 2025 spas, discounted up to 40 to 80%. We have spas to fit any backyard or budget. Free professional delivery, instant on-site financing. 2 area locations, Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent, and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Transform your backyard with a swim spa for the fraction of the price of a pool. The easiest way to exercise or relax in your backyard. Just fill and chill. Shockingly low monthly payments. Don't miss this opportunity to build the backyard of your dreams. See the latest models in person. 3 days only. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2 area locations. Salt Lake at Southtown Mall in the Big White Tent and St. George at Washington County Legacy Park. Learn more online at hottubandSwimSpaSale.com. hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, you can win a pair of tickets to Lagoon. Lagoon, it's what fun is. Or win free tickets to an upcoming Real Salt Lake home match. While you're there, nominate a teacher to be featured on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall. Presented by Cypress Credit Union. What are you waiting for? Enter now. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
It's summer, and we all know what that means. It's officially moving season, a time filled with hours of packing, unpacking, and so much bubble wrap. But the first thing you should do when moving into your new home is make sure that the Wi-Fi is booming with Xfinity. It's super quick and easy to set up. Then, boom! You'll have your new home hooked up with the ultimate Wi-Fi experience faster than the time it takes to parallel park a moving truck. Then you'll be back online with the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best-in-class equipment from Xfinity, so you can just kick back, relax, and stream your favorite movies and TV shows while somebody else deals with those boxes. Because with Xfinity, the only thing you'll have to worry about is remembering where you packed the remote. Make the right and easy move with Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/move. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi claim based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report August 2024. Go to xfinity.com/move.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Have you seen those billboards that have a giant turtle on them that say win a new air conditioner? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you're probably wondering, what's that all about? Well, the turtle is a character in our new TV commercials that'll be airing this summer. I know it's kind of silly, but we're always trying to figure out how to grab attention and stand out in a crowded market. We thought a big turtle would do the trick. Another thing we're doing is every week this summer, Any Hour is giving away an air conditioner to one lucky customer. We're calling it the Coolest Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how it works. This summer, if you get an estimate to replace your air conditioner or purchase a new air conditioner from Any Hour Services, you'll automatically be entered into our weekly drawing. If your name is drawn, Any Hour will pay for your air conditioner, up to $8,750. We just want to meet more homeowners that are in the market for a new air conditioner and have the chance to earn their business. We're confident that once you have an Any Hour technician in your home, you'll see why we have over 28,000 Google reviews. No purchase is necessary. See official rules at anyhour.com.
This is Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Across the country, there's a growing number of cases of ticks and Lyme disease. That's according to new data from the CDC. But here in Utah, it's not as big of an issue.
Nationally, the CDC has reported ticks increasing and expanding, as well as increase in tick-borne diseases. In Utah, we don't have great data to show if our tick populations are increasing. However, this season, we have heard multiple accounts from the public regarding seeing ticks in new places that they haven't seen before, or seeing more ticks than normal on themselves or pets, for example.
That's One Health epidemiologist Casey Nowak. She says that when it comes to ticks, we're all probably familiar with Lyme disease, but there are plenty of other diseases, viruses, and bacteria that ticks here spread.
In Utah, we actually don't have concrete evidence that you can get Lyme disease here, but we're working to get better data and a better understanding of if our tick species carry the bacteria that causes Lyme. We have other ticks. The more common one is the Rocky Mountain wood tick, and that one carries diseases such as Rocky Mountain spotted fever and Colorado tick fever. And so those two diseases are more common. You're more likely to get here in Utah, though tick-borne diseases in Utah are very rare overall.
Nowak tells KSL News Radio's Josue Sanchez that even if Utah isn't seeing a rapid rise in tick cases, you should still be paying attention and taking precautions to keep yourself safe from tick bites.
When out on trails or recreating, it's really important to just prevent going near ticks. So this would mean staying on trail in the middle of the trail if possible, so that you're not brushing up against the bushes and the grass where ticks would be found. Also, while outdoors, it's really important to wear long pants and long sleeves if possible, and wear EPA certified bug repellent to help prevent ticks from latching onto your skin. And then afterwards, after you're done recreating, it's really important to do tick checks on yourself as well as your pets, and look for those ticks really like dark, moist places. So looking under the armpits, around the groin, in the elbow or like the knee crease behind your ears or your neck. So doing a tick check every time you go out, and possible tick habitat is really important so that the tick is not on you for very long.
You can get more information on the kinds of ticks in Utah, as well as other ways to protect yourself, your kids, and your pets by going to epi.utah.gov. Hot, dry, and windy conditions remain the norm this week across Utah, but as hot as it's been, we're actually a little below average for how many triple-digit days we've seen this year. KSL meteorologist Kevin Eubank explains.
The summer of 2025 has been a hot one for Salt Lake City, but not as hot as in years past, especially when it comes to 100-degree days. Now, Salt Lake City averages 8 days of 100-degree temperatures, 1 day in June, 5 days in July, and 2 days in August. Now, just a year ago, we had 20 days of 100-degree temperatures during those 3 months, but this year has been a little bit closer to normal and slightly below. We ended up with 1 day of 100s in the month of June. We had 3 days of 100s in July, and we've had 1 day of 100-degree temperatures here in August. So we've had a total of 5 days, so just a smidge below normal. But the bottom line is, for Salt Lake City, this is actually the least amount of 100-degree days in 7 years for the summer season. So we're below normal, and it looks like we likely could end the summer months below normal for 100-degree days. Now, it isn't a full indicator of how hot the summer's been. 100s is just one thing that we look at. But if you're wondering, hey, this year feels a little light on the 100s, well, you're
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake